Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Where have I been? I have been, for the past 2 weeks, just sicker than sick. You could probably still hear it in me. It's just now starting to like break up and I'm starting to feel better. I don't know what it was, just turned into just a wicked sinus infection and it floored me, man. Like, I couldn't do anything. I just the thought of coming out here, like, I had energy and stuff. I didn't have COVID. I tested multiple times. But like, I had plenty of energy, but I could not stop coughing. Like, just constantly coughing. Like, I tried to like come out and film something and it was just 5 minutes of me hacking and I gave up. I was like, I can't. So we're back after a 2 week not vacation, but we're here. So a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff's going to be coming up in the future, but we'll get to that when it gets here. There's a lot of things in motion right now, and possibly something for you guys. So stay tuned and look for that. A chance to win something, which would be pretty cool. All right, that's it. Let's get on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Spokeshaves. Not this one. This one I've had for a long time and I came across it, just problems with it. So I replaced it with this, the Wood River Spokeshave. This thing is super cool, but a little confusing. I pulled it out of the box, I've looked at it, I've kind of played around with it, but I haven't really set it up yet. Let's do that together. Okay, so this is a Spokeshave. If you don't know what a Spokeshave is, it's essentially a hand plane, but with handles on it, where you pull towards you, you can push away from you. You can go on round surfaces, you know, whatever type of surface you want. They come in a lot of different styles. They have curved ones where the belly, the bottom, or the sole of the Spokeshave is kind of flat, like this one. So you can see it's kind of flat, and there's the blade protruding through. They've got some adjustment screws up here to kind of set the depth of the blade or the thickness of your cut. There's one on each side because you can make one side of the Spokeshave cut pretty aggressive and the other side cut pretty smooth. So you can kind of work your, you know, kind of take those aggressive cuts, shape your thing, and then use the other side to kind of feather it out and smooth it out. They have curved ones for like inner, concave curves and things like that. They have specialty Spokeshaves, pretty much all different kinds, but this is probably the most popular, this kind of flat bottom Spokeshave. I bought this one on Amazon, like, I would say 2 years ago, and I've used it for a few different things, you know, a lot of different projects, mainly for when I'm carving and stuff. I can really just kind of hog off a lot of material pretty quick with this, instead of having to sit there with my knife and just, you know, take shavings off. But I noticed a problem with this. I've always had issues with it. This isn't a Stanley or anything nice. It's just one I bought on Amazon, I think for like 12 bucks. It's like a Stanley copy, you know? But I've always had issues with it. Like, as I'm working with it, one of these screws 100% of the time will always come loose, or the blade feels like it like gets retracted back in and I've got to reset it all the time. I was just having a lot of problems with it, and I was working on those chisels, those Harbor Freight chisels, and working on the handles with it, trying to shave them down. And I was taking gouges out of the wood and it just wasn't cutting right. So I'm like, maybe the blade's just dull. So I took the whole blade apart, started sharpening it, and I went to go put it back together, and I realized that these screws, so these screws on the back, I don't know if you could tell or not, but this one is significantly higher than this one. They're drilled weird, and they're drilled, one of them is drilled on an angle. So that's what's causing the problem, is these set screws, when I go to adjust it, one's pushing one over the top, and it's just not working. If you could see the blade, let's see, can you see the blade in here? This should be flat across the back, but I'm having issues where this side is touching the sole, but this side is like almost 1/8 of an inch gap in there where it's not sitting flush. That's not good. So I said, you know what, time for a new spoke shave. This thing, I could still find some use for it, but it's just not going to be the precision tool that I want it to be. So I started looking at Stanley's and other things, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to buy a good spoke shave. I'm going to spend some good money. I'm not going to cheap out on this. I've had the cheap one. So I went with this Wood River. It's a little bit different of a setup than the traditional ones, where these you can kind of set the depth, the aggressiveness of the cut in and out pretty easy on the fly. This one's a little bit different, but I think I'm gonna like it. I looked around online. I could only find a couple reviews on it, and some were not so good, some others were good, but I still wanted to give it a try. It's under $100. I think I paid this much for it. So let's open it up. I'll show you what it has. Okay, so this is the Wood River Spokeshave. This thing comes in some really cool packaging. You know, it's got this real nice box. The one thing that it does not have is directions on how to set it up or how to sharpen it. I looked through all the paperwork on there, couldn't find anything. I looked around on the website, couldn't find anything, which was confusing to me. That's why I started searching the internet of like, how do I set this thing up? Because it was, I'll show you in a minute why it was confusing. But this should hopefully solve the problem of anyone else that's looking for answers. So, this thing's really down there. So they give you this little cardboard box in the back from Wood River. Woodcraft makes Wood River. Yeah. So nothing really. It is made in China, which is unfortunate, but you know, I've had stuff in China made from China that's pretty good, so we'll see. Comes in a really cool box. You know, it's got Wood River written on it and stuff, so that's pretty nice. And then it just slides out to reveal the spoke shave. It had a lot more packaging in it and bags and stuff, a little foam, but it's meant to kind of sit in the little groove like that. That's a little weird, you know, where I feel like that should be up higher. So, but you know, whatever, beggars can't be choosers. It's a storage box essentially, but it works, it holds it in place. This is the spoke shave. What's different, so you'll see two knobs on here, right? But these don't control the depth of cut like these knobs do. What this does is these knobs control the gap of the mouth of the blade, where the wood hits where the gap between the blade and the sole. So if you loosen these, you can see you've got a little bit of play here to be able to do either a real fine shave or, you know, have a little bit bigger of a gap on your mouth. But what this is, you'll see two screws here. These two screws are what control the depth of your cut. Setting this up is a little weird. You don't adjust it in and out. Essentially what you do is set it on a flat surface, and you can put a couple pieces of paper in here or something, or a feeler gauge or something to really get that depth down. If you want it flat all the way across, you could also put like a couple pieces of paper over here and maybe 4 over here, and that would, you know, let more wood in on this side than that. It'd be more aggressive cut. So, but I didn't know that at first. So I'm like, okay, how do these work? You know, I couldn't figure it out. The next part is when you take these off, you got nice brass knurled knobs. Those are pretty cool. Underneath are 2 brass washers. And then if you lift up the spoke shave, you're left with the the blade. Now, I looked at this and I was like, man, those look pressed in. How the hell am I supposed to sharpen this thing, right? I haven't sharpened this at all. You can see It still has some kind of manufacturing markings on the blade, which is kind of unfortunate. Wood River is kind of a higher end company, so I kind of would have expected a more polished bevel, but you know, it's still sub $100, so it is what it is. It is fairly sharp out of the box. I did plane some wood with it, and it was cutting decent, but I was like, dude, you gotta have a stone to get in here. Like, how? So I started looking online. These apparently screw out, but like, I'm trying to like screw them by hand, and you don't know that. They're in there really tight. So apparently these come out, and then it becomes a lot easier to sharpen. So that is basically all of the moving parts of the plane. This is just kind of the sole of it. It's curved up. So also another review I saw was the back of this blade was a little sharp, and it was digging into the work. I don't know if that was older or not, because this feels rounded over to me now. So maybe that solved the problem. We'll see. If it doesn't, we'll just take a file to the back of this and kind of round it over a little bit. So let's get these screws off and get this thing sharpened and see how it works. Yeah, so just a little bit with a pair of pliers on there, and they'll come out pretty easy. They loosen right up. So there is our blade. Let's get these on the sharpening stone, see how flat this is. It doesn't have to be super flat with a Spokeshave, but you still kind of want it, for a higher end one like this, you're going to want it flat, right? So let's figure that out. Also, I'm curious as to, okay, that is above it. I was worried that these side pieces were going to be troublesome like this. I don't know. I'm not sure if I like this design or not. We're gonna see. So let's get this blade sharp and we'll figure it out. All right, get a little water on our stones. Polishing compound on our strop. So first thing I want to do, I want to see how flat this bottom is. So I'm just going to take a marker. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, wow. That is pretty flat. There's a little bit of marker there, but not bad. Let me try that again. I'm wondering if the marker just wore off in the water. There's no way it's that flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, not terrible, man. Okay, a little bit there, but not bad. All right, let's bring it down. Let's put a nice polish on it. Okay, so I saw a lot of reviews online that this blade was really hard to sharpen. They're not wrong. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just the one I got, but I have spent the past hour flattening the back of this damn thing. Wood River, what the hell, man? Like, the marker test like came off clean and it was great, but I think it was just oils on it and this wasn't dry enough or something, because like I'm doing scratch patterns and stuff and I could see low spots and low spots. I had to bust out 150 grit on a piece of glass just to get it somewhat close, and then spent the next hour working through all these stones, the diamond plates, to get it flat. It is unreal. So now we get to do the bevel, and this thing's so small, you know, as a comparison to like this blade here, right? Which this is a $12 plane, but look at the blade that they give you to be able to sharpen. You can hold it, you can, you know, you have a little bit of room to get purchase on. I mean, this Spokeshave's never going to have a great bevel, or, you know, a great blade to work with, but like, guys, this thing is so annoying. So anyway, so that's finally flat. I can tell we definitely got it sharper during the process, but now we're gonna go through, find the bevel. The one good thing is the bevel on this is real big, so you can find the bevel pretty easy. So now we're just gonna sharpen the bevel up. We'll go through all the grits again. And go from there and get it sharp, put it back together. This video that was supposed to take 20 minutes because I'm not feeling good is going on an hour now. Yay. All right, well, quit bitching and get to work, yeah. All right, let's get this, I can't speak. Let's get this bevel sharp and we'll be back. Yep, I'd say we're sharp. You're shaving. Gross. Okay, we're finally sharp. Put our blade on there. Get these put back in. Okay, I'm just gonna put those finger tight. I don't see these getting loose, but you never know. So, okay, so now to put this thing back together, what we're gonna do is look for my screwdrivers that I thought I had. So we're gonna loosen this up on the front here. So this here moves up and down, right? This controls the depth of your cut. So we're gonna push it all the way up and just snug it down enough so it won't fall. Then come in here, set that over top, and I'm going to keep those to the back. Then I'm going to put on brass washer on each side. Put on our nut on each side. Okay, and just snug those down a little bit. Then I'm going to look in the back here. So I want a fairly close gap. So I think what I'll do is just push up on one side and then snug it, and then push up on the other side till it's fairly even by eye. So if you can tell there, just a little bit, maybe a 32nd of an inch all the way across. Now to adjust the depth of the cut. So if you don't have feeler gauges, which are, you know, hold like millimeters and stuff like that, like very fine down to the thousandth, what I'll do is I'll take a piece of paper and fold it over twice. And then I'll put it underneath here. Loosen these up. I'm doing it on a piece of glass here because that I know is flat, right? So two folded over thicknesses worth of paper. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Just let it drop on there and then tighten it down. Just snug it. We don't need it super tight. Just get it snug and then give it a little tension. And that, if I run my thumb over that, I'm feeling the blade here, but right around here I don't feel as much. So that side might be a little thin, but we can adjust later. So let's get this into the vise now and see how it cuts. Okay, so I've got just a piece of 3/4 inch thick pine, softwood. It's got a little knot on the end. We'll see how that works. And let's see how well it cuts. So we've got our plane, or I keep calling it plane, a Spokeshave. Look at that. Like, I'm barely pulling, even though it looks like I am. But that is just whisper thin shaving. That's really nice. That's cutting really, really well. That cut through quite nicely, actually. So let's try another one. Very cool. So it's cutting through that knot very well, pretty well too. Let's try this right side. Yeah, as I thought. Okay, so the left side is cutting pretty well, while the right side is not doing anything. So we're a little too shallow over here. So to fix that, I'm gonna go back onto our glass over here and loosen up that side. You know what I'm gonna do is 4 folds on this side. That might be a little aggressive, and 2 folds on that side. All right, let's see. Be mindful not to go too deep and hit the blade, right? So just gonna rest that on, putting pressure on the back of the plane of the Spokeshave. Screwing that tight. Doing this left-handed, it's a little weird. Okay, let's try that again. Oh yeah, much more aggressive of a cut. Still cutting's nice, but much more aggressive. And then let's try the right. Yeah, much more of a kind of a whisper. Yeah, so much more of a kind of a whisper, thin shaving. A little piece of wood stuck there. Okay. So cutting quite nicely on the right. And then the left, I can come in and take more of an aggressive cut. And then in the middle, just kind of is normal. So Spokeshaves are great, so you can cut chamfers on the side of wood if you want, and then refine it later. Or other cool stuff you can do is kind of come in here and round it, right? So you can start to shape wood. You'll see kind of that curve in there, or that belly that we're putting in there as we're curving that. You can do some really cool stuff with a Spokeshave. So this is a great tool to have for a woodworker. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox, right? Man, that is cutting like glass though. Nice and smooth finish. Very well refined. I'm getting a bit of, I keep getting wood stuck in there. I don't know if that's because the gap is too tight here. I'm gonna have to mess with that a little bit, play with that over time. But it's cutting flat. It's leaving just a glassy finish on. Very nice finish. I can come in and refine that chamfer a little bit more. Very nice, man. All right, so that is the Wood River Spokeshave. Sorry if I keep calling it a plane throughout. I'm on a lot of cough meds and stuff right now. So what are my final thoughts on this Spokeshave? It feels really nice in the hand. It once you get it set up, it cuts amazing. I saw some reviews saying like, oh, it's too heavy and I can't do it with one hand. I feel like it's not very heavy at all. The body is cast iron. It does have some weight to it, but compared to this one, it is heavier, but not by much. This is a cast iron body as well. So it is heavier, but, and you do feel it in your hand. But I kind of like that. I feel like it gives me more control and it lets the Spokeshave do more of the work rather than me having to like bear down on it a little more to like get that cut. I was basically at the end there, I was laying it on, and just one hand pulling it. Look at that. And it just pulls out this whisper thin shave, like awesome. So I do like that it has one depth, a depth different on one side versus the other. So you can get that harder cut on one side and that smoother, wispier cut on the other side. So that is nice. That's definitely a plus. Some cons of this. You cannot, like on the fly, adjust the depth of cut, which, take it or leave it. This one, you could do that, but I think I had to keep doing that because of like the aforementioned problems with that, where the blade just kept loosening as I was doing it. So I was always having to like readjust and stuff. I think if I kept this like this, right, I would never have to readjust. I've got my coarse side, I've got my fine side, so I can work between them and kind of flow and make that cut smoother as I go. So I don't know that that's a con, that you can't really adjust it. One of the major cons is the blade is just, I don't know if it's mine, the one that I got, or if it's all of them, but it was very hard to get this bottom flat, which is not it's not as important as it with like a hand plane to get the blade the back of the blade of this plane just flat. But I do want it flat because it is coming across the top of the grain of the wood, and I would like it to be flat as I'm working on something. So getting that flat took a significant amount of time, and like the fact that I had to go to sandpaper on glass for a cheap Amazon plane, I would expect to have to do that. For kind of a higher end, I wouldn't say this is like high end, but this is probably top mid tier plane. Wood River makes some really good products. They're known for really good hand planes and stuff. I expected a little bit more out of the blade than that. However, I did get the bevel nice. It got really sharp, and it is cutting very well. And sharpening it took a long time, so that tells me the blade is very hard, right? So it's telling me that it's going to keep that blade, that edge retention for a long time between sharpenings. So that is also good. A Spokeshave by no means is like a finish tool. You could use it as a finish tool, but you're usually going to finish with like a scraper or sandpaper or something. This is more of a shaping tool. But with as sharp as it is, as glass-like as it's cutting right now, I could probably use this as a finish tool. So I am pretty happy with it. It comes with a cool wood box, for storage. So I'm always a fan of, me, I like wood boxes for stuff. It's not the best quality, but it is what it is. That's fine. It stores nicely in there, and it'll keep the dust off of it until I need it, and it'll keep the blade safe. So I do like that. So comes in a cool little Wood River box. It's my first Wood River tool. So far, I am impressed with Wood River. I think I will be happier if I get like a hand plane or something from them in the future. But for the first one out of the gate, maybe the Spokeshave wasn't the best. of their tools to get, but I think maybe a marking gauge is next. But I do like the Spokeshave. It does, I would not say this is a beginner Spokeshave. If you are looking for your first Spokeshave, I would stick with something like this. I wouldn't go with the $12 Amazon one because clearly it has quality control issues. But Stanley makes a very affordable Spokeshave that looks just like this. And you're going to get a better quality tool at a cheaper price than that. And it's a good beginner. And there's nothing wrong with this. You know, this Spokeshave, this style of Spokeshave is very common and it works very well. So if you're looking in for something entry level, I would go with something like this that's you can adjust easier, has a bigger blade. I wouldn't say this is more advanced, but I would say mid-moderate as far as like setting it up and maintaining it and stuff goes. But ease of use, once you get it set up, works pretty well. If you want to be precise with that, setting up your depths and stuff, I would use feeler gauges. Feeler gauges are used kind of mostly, in my experience, in like the automotive industry and stuff. We used to use it to set gaps on things or machining and things like that. It's basically perfectly machined strips of metal that you can fold out. So you can say, I want a 10,000th of an inch cut on the right side and, half a millimeter cut, which is aggressive, on the left side or something, and you could set those down and set that up. A piece of glass or something real flat, even if you have like a flat piece of granite or something, would be useful to set that up on. But that's about it. If you like this type of content, subscribe down below, give me a comment. Have you used a Spokeshave before? What kind of Spokeshaves do you use? Have you used the Wood River Spokeshave before? I'm curious. I didn't find a lot of videos about this, so I'm hoping if you're watching this video and you bought one and you're trying to figure out, hey, how the hell do I use this thing? Because I was confused at first too. I had to I pulled that blade off. I'm like, how am I supposed to sharpen that? It was just these sticks sticking out of it, the screws. I'm like, that's gonna be a nightmare. So there's not a lot of information. If you're watching this video, hopefully it was helpful to you. If you haven't bought one and you're thinking about buying one, maybe this makes you want to buy it. Maybe not. There are some pros, there are some cons, but so far, after setting it up, it's a pain in the butt. But once you get that first kind of set up, I'm never gonna have to flatten that back again, right? And then occasionally, once in a while, because it's not a finished tool, every once in a while I have to pull that blade out, sharpen it again, but it'll take 20 seconds to resharpen that blade, get a nice honed edge back on it, put it back together. So, and I don't have to really adjust my depth gauge anymore. I can leave that right there. So further sharpenings after your initial setup will be pretty quick. But anyway, that's it for today. Like I said, do all the things down below. I'll see you on the next one.